Let me begin again. Hey guys, welcome to Donna's Sewing Circle. Come on in. We made room for you. It's good to see you here today. Today is lesson 10 in a 15-part series. Today we're going to learn about piecing your quilt together and some of the terms you will find when you're trying to do this, so they won't be unfamiliar when we get to the actual quilting in a few lessons from now. So with all that said, let's get into this. So one of the first things we're going to learn is you need accurate seams. You need 1/4 inch seams. And mine are not straight. I did that on purpose because I was making my project crooked for the class, for one of the sewing classes. This one is correct. So you want a 1/4 inch seam. See how I've got that? It's the same place on both ends, and it's straight. You really need to practice your straight lines for quilting. It's very important. Anything with quilting, or sewing rather, you need straight lines. I'm going to finger press this. Okay, one of the things also that we need to learn is matching blocks. So I have these two blocks, and let's say I need to add it add it here. So you want these seams to come together. So you would flip it upside down, and you would match these seams. See how they need to come together? See how they come together perfectly? If you can get them to come together and stay together, you will have a beautiful quilt. So when you put them together, I actually make a cross when I pin them. Let me show you. First off, I pin it this way, keep it from moving, and then I'll double check, make sure the seams are still together, and then I pin it this way. So it makes a cross. See that? And I do that where all my seams come together. So it will make a nice seam. So when you sew them together, they come together like this. That's very important. You want your blocks to come together like that. So the next part is chain piecing. Chain piecing is fun. A lot of people have never heard of it, and I'm going to show you what chain piecing is today because it's very important. It'll save you a lot of time when it comes to quilting. Okay, when you are chain piecing, you put two blocks together, right sides together. I'm not going to pin it for this demonstration. Always go forward and back, lock your stitches. Okay, now we're at the end. Most of the time, you would backspace forward again, lock your stitch, but we're not going to now. We're going to sew into our next piece. We just feed it into under the feed dogs and just keep stitching. You do not have to go forwards or backwards. And you go on to your next piece. You stop at the edge. You feed your next piece through. And this is called a chain. See how my sewing is connected? And there's just a little piece of thread right there. You just cut it. And you just saved yourself a whole lot of time because you're not having to cut your thread. It saves you a lot of thread too. You're not cutting your thread. You're not going backwards and forwards. And it saves time, saves thread, and it'll really help you a lot in the quilting. It's called chain piecing. And anytime you have 20 or 30 blocks that you need to put together, that's when you use it. And we will do it in Jacob's ladder, so you'll actually see it at hand at work. Another thing I want to teach you is nesting seams. Nesting seams requires your stitch to be folded over like this, not opened up, but folded over. Okay, so they're both folded over. And you want to put your blocks together, and they nest together. They actually come into that little crease, as you'll see when you're actually doing it yourself. But they fit together really nicely. See how this side of the seam is this way, and this seam is on this side? That's called nesting. And it really comes together nice. That's one reason why I don't open my seams. I fold or I iron them to one side or the other. But that's called nesting. And then one thing you need to do is square your blocks. Like when you join 4 blocks together, because this is the pattern we'll be working on. And these are 10-inch blocks. So these 4 blocks joined together, they need to equal 10 inches. Otherwise, your quilt will not come together correctly. And I've already done this, I did this in the other video, but this square right here is 10 inches. So I use it in my measurements. So that means this one right here is 5 inches. So this seam right here needs to fall on that 5-inch mark. And anything beyond this right here needs to be cut off, or this side right here. And once you get those cut off, you actually flip your block, line it up to the 5-inch mark, and then you cut anything beyond these 2 lines. Now this is important. Now you don't want to do it like line this side up and let everything hang over here and you just cut one side, because then you end up with rectangles instead of squares. Does that make sense? When we're physically doing the quilt, it'll make more sense to you. I hope that helped you, and now we're ready to progress onto lesson 11, which will discuss batting and the types of batting you'll need to choose from when you prepare your quilt. So I will see you in a few minutes for lesson 11. God bless.